I'm late to the party, as you probably get used to it at this point. So, have you watched this video? Probably you have. Don't worry, I am not going into the topic of that video. My topic would be in a much broader subject, as in inserting real-life politics as we have currently today. Either it's this thing or that thing, insert ideology, because apparently that matters more now than to isolate the universe for what it is. Now, the annoying part. Damn! So, YouTube memberships, Ko-Fi, and Patreon. All available if you'd like to support my work, you can donate there. For now, I just offer your name into the end of my video like it's the end credit. I personally suggest Ko-Fi because not only you can donate, but also be a member of your own price choice. Meanwhile, on Patreon and YouTube memberships, they offer a subscription for a set price, while YouTube also gives you some emotes you can use. All the platforms are set to $5 USD just to keep it consistent. But mainly it is to give you guys some options where you like to share your support so I can do more videos in the future. It ain't much, but it's honest work. And if you guys don't donate, that's fine. At least I can offer you some coffee at some point.
I'll give you a fucking bone, you prick! Where's my fucking money?
Thank you so much for watching, even though you guys skipped it.
You worthless piece of shit.
And let's get started. To give a straightforward answer, no, 40K was neither left-wing nor right-wing from what it was originally intended from the 3rd and 4th edition codex. No, it was never about satire. No, it was never meant to be funny or have love stories.
No!
Sure, you could say around 8th edition or a little before that, it started to have some woke elements or shoehorned elements to shove their politics into it, and started to have a bit of a political push just as much like any other RP that happened during that time, but I am talking about mainly of what 40K was meant to be. Here's another example I got from Chainsword from Twitter, showing a screenshot from Warhammer 40K's Ultimate Guide, which I talked about in another video about Femstodes. The post also mentions about Rick Priestley confirming that 40K is no longer satire, which almost means fuck all, but I'm just mainly focusing on the screenshot. So you see the screenshot, you're a grown-ass adult, read the post. I'm not gonna read it for you and hold your hand. What 40K was meant to be is meant to have the seriousness, big Pyrrhic battles. It's about wars. Big dudes with guns who are bred for war and fuck shit up. And of course, it's meant to be grimdark, which the IP has lost a long time ago and dropped the ball back in 8th edition. Sure, you could say 40K was tabletop first. I mean, sure, but without good story and good lore, there's no point really to play your army that you're running. It is just plastic miniatures running some rule sets and that's it. Like saying tabletop first, like it doesn't really mean anything when most people don't really buy the models to play tabletop in the first place. And also, you know, don't own a 3D printer and the official models being expensive as fuck. And don't worry boys, 2025 we're going to have another price rise.
Yes! Yes!
The problem is not about 40K being one thing or another, but more of how fans or 40K YouTubers or maybe GW's poor authors missing the whole fucking point about 40K. Or they just don't care, there's either one of those. And they add a political sticker from real life and shove it into sci-fi instead of being its own thing. Either it's from memes or taking information at face value. No, Arch Warhammer, I don't need your fucking 30 to 1 hour video explaining the nitty-gritty details about that one political idea from a guy who fucked a sandwiches and just to get to the point about 40K being right-wing all along. Get out! Is Warhammer political in its own universe? Yes, but not how people understand. You see, at this point, people can't really separate what is fiction and what is real life, and they have to attach something to make themselves special. I've heard different talks how 40K was made and apparently it was meant to be Margaret Thatcher's sci-fi utopia, but I haven't found anything solid evidence to back that up. So that's probably misinformation that people took it at face value or memes, and that's that. That's that, really.
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
What 40K is meant to be is the depiction of humanity's survival, with its denigrating empire fighting from tooth and nail with the tools that have at their disposal. It's a political structure most of the time is strict and mostly authoritarian, because you need an iron grip to make sure you have the best possibilities for mankind survival. That's why you have Imperial Guard, the billions of men fighting in the front lines, bashing against other factions like a hammer, and then they die like flies. And no women. Women are cringe being in the combat front line. They should be at the home front making more babies to fight in the Emperor's name than being an inferior soldier and get destroyed when your role could have been much more useful elsewhere. Men and women are equal in value, but not in duties. Sun Tzu, the Dung Eater, 1964. That's why you have Space Marines when they go through the aggressive procedures and trials, and most of them die from medical and physical reasons. And they are the best of the best. That's why you see in old 40k art how humanity is treated like cattle, because it's a denigrated empire and is trying to do anything to cling on survival with drastic measures. Then you have the high order of oligarchs and other high positions take some moral decisions, which is wrong in the audience, but in their eyes, it is the right thing to do, or they just don't care, and they only care for themselves. It's either one of them. I don't see 40k factions either being the good guys or the bad, other than these factions are doing their own thing. They have their own morals, they have their own code to do what's best in their own race, and that is why most of the time we as an audience are more sympathetic to the Imperium, because we can relate to them as humans, and anything not human must be destroyed at all cost. And that's why the Imperium should be its own thing, because they are fighting what's in their own environment, and that makes sense in their own environment. That's why I don't like how Necrons got humanized and how Eldar got humanized as well, them being alien and being a threat, which added stakes for humanity's survival. It contradicts what 40k setting is meant to portray, so everything is lighting up and now I just have milk instead of just having dark chocolate. There's reasons within the universe for the actions and the political decisions they make. Then to immediately assume, oh, it's this real life ideology or this real life ideology, and just to glue them to it. How about the Imperium being the Imperium, then putting it on the Toothbrush Man, since you have nothing else significant to add, and also you need to seriously consider eating some fucking salads and a shower. Oh, the misery. Let me elaborate something simple at the bedrock of all things. Sci-fi, do you know what that means? Science fiction. Fiction, so thus it's not real, right? What? You can't separate from real life to fiction? Well, that sounds like a skill issue for you.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
Fiction, thus it's not real. Is an escapism of real life? Sure, that's one way to look at it. But the question will be, how do we connect to the story and characters that we see? I would say mainly with good writing and characters is someone who acts and being human. And that's where we can understand, because we as an audience are human and not an alien that is being humanized. Because at that point, that's not an alien. That's just a human hybrid that acts human, which removes the threat that it's meant to have. And because it's escapism, doesn't mean you can escape reality 24/7, like some anxiety-driven fans trying to attach their identity to 40k. Another example is, people make the argument that I just want to avoid the world and I just want my escapism and avoid politics. Yes, that is true to a certain extent, but how would you react when politics enter into your hobby and blatantly show in front of you? Are you gonna fence it like many other 40k YouTubers and not saying how it is? Or are you gonna deal with the issue that is right in front of you? You take a pick. Now, from understanding sci-fi, we can go to the bedrock foundation, how 40k is set during the 3rd and 4th edition. No progress in technology and science. It's a degrading empire of humanity having an authoritarian iron grip while clings to its last legs for the inevitable apocalypse, and there will be wars, and there will always be war. Main theme, wars. It's the simplest way to say it. So, to put it back into the conclusion and to wrap this topic, there is no point to attach real-life ideologies and then shove them into 40k, no matter if it's left or right. I honestly do not care. What I do care is when it comes to 40k, it should be 40k and not attached to Spaghetti Man paying ravioli at his imperial tribute tithes. I want a good story with a good written characters in its own universe and based from its environment that makes sense how it acts and thinks in that universe. And act proper human. And not incompetent man with boss bitches. And not fucking pronouns added like how Mike Brook does, or Gav Thorpe does. Pretty much anyone who's fucking a woke writer and they're still there because GW is woke. 40k does not and will not have satire as its core element in the setting. And no, Starship Troopers does not count when comparing to Everything is Massive because fuck you. So, to end it here, if you'd like to support my content, I have a donation platforms like YouTube memberships, Patreon for monthly subscriptions, and Ko-Fi for donation and monthly subscriptions. As a reward for now, I can add your name as an end credits to say thank you and showing your support. And also, if you want to keep in touch, I have a Discord and YouTube's community page, so you can check it over there. That is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye, my brothers, and take care.